Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can visit our website at holybatcast.com and find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast and you'll find us. If you're a big fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, a big old thank you to our patrons. You guys are amazing. We know that you don't have to do it, but you do it out of the kindness of your heart, and I hope you know how much it means. That's amazing. So thank you guys. We are part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. So we got some news. A lot of the news kind of came hand in hand with the announcement that HBO Max is becoming just Max. And along with that, we got some news. We got cast list for Creature Commandos. We got some more promotion for The Flash. We got our first look at the Penguin show. So we're going to talk about all that fun stuff. And we're going to talk about the next animated episode of The Batman. So joining me for all that fun, first of all, he's down there. Or not down there. I guess he's up there compared to where I'm at. But he's up there enjoying spring until it snows again, which apparently is a thing. It's Jamie Drewley. Hi, Jamie.
Those in the Midwest know the struggle. 4 or 5 straight days in the upper 70s to low 80s, and then tomorrow it's going to snow. So
yeah,
might be a mild bout of depression for me on this episode, thinking about what's coming. Because right now I have all the doors and windows open, and tomorrow I'm going to have to bundle up again.
Oh man, yeah, I don't miss the schizophrenic springs in the Midwest.
Definitely not.
All right, you'll be okay. I believe in you.
I'll survive.
You will. Just like Gloria Gaynor, you will survive.
Heck yeah.
All right. Also joining us, we have a special guest. It's one of our patrons. He is joining us to chat about Batman and DC. It's Mr. Willis Ward. Hi, Willis.
Hey, thank you for having me. Yeah. Hello, Andy and Jamie.
Hi, welcome. And welcome to Holy BatCast. Thanks for making the time on this bright and sunny Sunday morning. I don't know where you're located, Willis.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
North Carolina. All right, good. Well, then you're in the right time zone, so that makes it easier.
Yep.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you.
I've been looking forward to this. I mean,
good.
I'm excited but nervous.
Don't be nervous. We're very nice.
Oh, I know that.
I'm nice. Jamie can get a little salty, but that's part of his charm. He'll be nice to you.
I'm caffeinated, so I'm good.
He saves his saltiness for us, his friends. Anyway, no, it's great to have you. Thanks for getting up nice and early. And because it's your first episode of Holy BatCast, I want you to share a little bit about your DC fandom and what your favorite Batman movie is.
Okay, well, I knew this was coming, so I've been thinking about this. Because I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm really back from like the 70s when Superman came out. So I was at that right age when that happened. I was roughly around 12 when it came out. So I'm more in line with the comic version of, I guess, the movies. So, even fast forwarding up until when Batman 89 came out, I was already out of college in a more of a party phase. So I really wasn't, fine tuning in a lot of that stuff. But I'm a casual fan, I guess is the best way to describe it when it comes to DC, even Marvel for that matter and stuff. So I like it. I don't usually go back and rewatch things, but in preparation for this, I went back and watched a couple of the Batman movies to see which one I really liked. I went and rewatched, when you did the Batman 89 review, I watched that. And then I just did Batman 66 and then The Dark Knight. And I'm like torn between which of those I like, but then I also have to throw in Batman and Robin. Just because of Chris O'Donnell, that was the right age for me too.
Okay.
But I liked Batman 66. I forgot how campy it was, and just the hilarity of things. Adam West carrying that bomb and trying to figure out where to throw it. I mean, and I've heard y'all talk about the shark repellent, and it's like, oh, I forgot how weird this was, but. I think I still have to go with The Dark Knight with Christian Bale because I was more at that time settled in my life, and so those are the ones I sort of think about more. Especially with Heath Ledger as the Joker, I really was enraptured by watching that, yesterday morning, going, wow, now I remember why, people like this and why I enjoyed that one. So I would go with The Dark Knight.
Okay,
That's
Willis, so you answered the question correctly. We can definitely be friends.
Well, there you go. It's a great answer. Nobody's mad at you for that. And I appreciate that you went back and rewatched some Batman movies in preparation. Good for you.
Well, if I would have if I would have thought about it, I would have taken the time to go through and rewatch everything, and sort of, not that I would have given my, ratings like you all did, because I just couldn't devote that much time right now. So,
Fair enough. All good. Well, good choice. Glad you revisited a few. It's always a good time to revisit. And you said you're more of like a casual fan, but you know what? That's probably nice. It's probably a lot less stressful to just be a casual fan and kind of enjoy things as they come and not be embroiled in like all the fandom and stuff. You're probably a much happier person.
well,
Amen.
I mean, I have to admit, when I started listening to Holy BatCast, it was right when you were doing the Wonder Woman 84 review, and so I've become more familiar with DC and hearing how you all are talking about all the behind the scenes stuff and everything else, and Jamie, going, is the Flash really happening? I'll believe it when I see it, that type of thing. So, having that couple of year history now, it really, I think, has helped me appreciate more of DC and the Batman.
Awesome. You've gone on a journey with us. Very cool. Well, awesome. Good job doing homework. Before we get to all the news, though, I got to give a shout out, as always, to our pals over at Manscaped. So this episode is brought to you by Manscaped, and what a perfect time considering that April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month to help awareness and to fundraise for a good cause. The leaders in below the waist grooming partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to remind you to check your golden nuggets this month for anything not so golden. While you're down there, shave your balls while you save your balls. Support a good cause. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. And remember, right now, they do have that limited edition purple lawnmower 4.0. It's real fancy. It's real cool. And you're going to want to pick one of those up. If you haven't picked up a lawnmower, pick one up. They're fantastic. But with the launch of the lawnmower, Manscaped is donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society to help those impacted by testicular cancer. So Manscaped has all of their great products that you're already familiar with, or maybe you're not. Maybe you haven't checked yet. But go to manscaped.com, do a little shopping, check out what they've got, and use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping, because you're doing something good for you. You're helping Holy BatCast, and this month, you're also supporting testicular cancer awareness. So you're helping many people out there save their balls, which is important. So go to manscaped.com, do a little shopping, and again, use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. All right, onward, y'all. So let's talk about the first thing. Now, I think it was just on the last episode where we had heard that Frank Grillo is moving over to DC. And a lot of folks were like, I bet you he's Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos. Sure enough, that was correct. He is. But along with that confirmation, we also got a list of the entire cast of Creature Commandos. And this is something that, as James Gunn has clarified, and he said it again, is they will be the voices of these characters in animation, and then they will also be able to play them in live action. So we've got Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. We have Indira Varma is the Bride of Frankenstein. David Harbour is Frankenstein. Zoe Chow is Nina Mazursky. Sean Gunn is G.I. Robot and Weasel. Alan Tudyk is Dr. Phosphorus. And Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller. So we finally have a cast for Creature Commandos, which it does feel like it is the furthest ahead in the new DCU. So, Willis, how you feeling about this?
Actually, I'm excited for this. I mean, again, I'm not real familiar with a lot of, voice cast, so I couldn't recognize the name, but knowing some of these are going to be live action as well. I mean, one of the ones that struck out to me was Indira Varma, because I remember her from Game of Thrones and then Obi-Wan, and I really like her.
Yes, that's
So,
right. Yeah.
and and I like Sean Gunn. Again, my first introduction to him was like in Gilmore Girls, and then playing in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I did watch Suicide Squad where he was the Weasel. So I'm excited about that as well. But overall, yeah, I'm looking forward to this because it gets into that little bit of horror and stuff. And, while I'm maybe not as a big, Halloween horror fan as you all, but I really enjoy it and I'm really looking forward to this.
Awesome. Jamie.
Uh, Indira Varma, I didn't know her name. I just kind of scanned down the list when it was released, and I was like, okay, I know a couple of these. I don't know a couple other ones, but Willis just mentioned Game of Thrones. Was she the Viper's wife?
Yes, she
the Queen of
was.
Dorne.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now I'm way into it. David Harbour. I mean, that seems like it's pretty spot on for Frankenstein for voice and or live action. I mean, either one that works. And Frank Grillo, man, that I don't know if that dude gets enough recognition or respect because I love him in just about anything I see him in, whether the movie's good or not. Like he just feels to me, and I say this with all the reference I can muster, one of the throwbacks to like the mid 80s to early 90s action stars. And that's not saying he's not capable of like other things. It's just when I look at him and I watch his movies, that's just kind of the feeling I get. And coming from me, that's pretty high praise. So I'm way into that too.
Awesome. Yeah, it's exciting to get the cast, and it is a really good cast. I mean, it's mostly character actors, which you would kind of expect for Creature Commandos, but they're all pretty spot on in their casting. Like you said, David Harbour as Frankenstein is almost too perfect. Is it too perfect? Maybe. I don't know, but like it's just so like it's like, oh duh, of course. But yeah, overall, this cast I think is really great. And when you see them and you look them up, you can definitely see how, oh yeah, they could all play these characters in live action too. So that's really exciting. I'm excited to see how they might pop up in other things in live action. But it's such a weird property, but I'm really excited about it because I like it. I will say this lineup is, I mean, I don't pretend to be an expert on Creature Commandos, but the lineup I knew had the vampire and the wolfman, and this one does not. It's a more varied lineup. So I'm a little disappointed that we don't get a werewolf in here or a vampire, but that's okay.
This almost feels more like Frankenstein and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. than it does anything else.
Yeah, totally. But again, casting all feels spot on as far as I'm concerned. I think it all makes a lot of sense. And you're, oh yeah, of course, all this works. So yeah, it's exciting to get the confirmation. And last time, I think we also talked about there were rumors about Ron Perlman, and so some of us thought maybe he could be Frankenstein. And someone asked James Gunn about it, and James Gunn goes, I love Ron Perlman. He's great, but no, he's not cast as anything right now. And Perlman, he actually responded like, thanks, James. So they were very friendly about it, but it was just one of those things that, of course, we jumped to conclusions, but maybe someday down the road. But that was debunked by James Gunn because our Frankenstein is David Harbour. So we went from one Hellboy to another.
I would like to see Perlman involved in some capacity because I'm a fan, love the guy, anything he does really. But if I'm not mistaken, he's pushing 70, give or take.
I think so, yeah.
That would be tough to pull off in live action nowadays. And all due respect to him, I'm sure he's willing and capable and whatnot. But I think we have to move in another direction with him, much like Clancy Brown used to be very much like that as well, where he'd be heavily involved as like a main villain, physical threat and whatnot. And he's kind of evolved himself into a more seasoned type of character. He was just in the most recent John Wick movie, and he was fantastic without ever raising a fist to anybody. So finding something for Perlman to do in the DC universe, I'd absolutely welcome it, but we're going to have to get creative about it, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. So very cool. Creature Commandos is coming. We got more info, and we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really a lot of fun.
How did they get Alan Tudyk? I mean, that dude, he never does anything.
I know, right?
DC, so. And
Sean Gunn, they must have called in some favors to get Sean Gunn to show up.
Right.
He gets 2 roles. He gets 2. But,
well, when your brother's running the ship, I guess it's
Yeah, he's this generation's Clint Howard.
Well, I guess you could say Alan and Sean are sort of the same thing. Alan with all the stuff he does with Disney, Sean now doing all the stuff with his brother.
Yeah, exactly. So very cool. Creature Commandos as we go. So last week we also had like this big press conference about the changing of HBO Max to just Max. It is they are bringing in the Discovery into HBO Max, and then it's just becoming Max. And first thing, I guess I'll just address this real quick is the name change. Do I think it's silly? Yes. But at the same time, I thought it was silly when the Sci-Fi Channel became Sci-Fi SYFY. I thought it was silly when ABC Family became Freeform, and it was silly. And yet, in a year or two, everybody was used to it, and it didn't matter. So I have a hunch the same might happen here. Is everybody's kind of looking at Max and going, "That's dumb," and I agree, but I'm like, I bet you we'll get used to it, and it'll be fine, and no one will care.
I'm way more worried about the quality of content, which HBO is legendary for at this point, than I am what they're going to call themselves going forward. So
Yeah. What was interesting, just because we're talking about it, is apparently part of the motivator for taking away HBO is because they want to make themselves more attractive to families and kids, and the HBO branding skews older. And I can
that's not unfair, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of understand that, and yet they also have been stripping kids content off of HBO Max for the past few months. So it's like, so which is it? Do you want to attract families or not? Like, you're getting rid of kids content because you don't want to pay for it, but you're going to change the name to hopefully attract more families. Pick a lane, guys.
I did see one that made me giggle the other day on Twitter. I think it was Joe Russo, not the Marvel guy, but the one that does stuff with Mick Garris, said something to the effect of he hopes Comcast buys Warner Brothers Discovery because he would like to see streaming services merge and create one called MaxCock.
Yeah. Well, then you get all the kids then.
Absolutely.
Anyway, anything to add on this, Willis?
Not really. I agree with you, though. It's like, why? I mean, when I hear Max, I think of Cinemax, because that's been around for ages. But it's like, yeah, why?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Is Cinemax even still a thing? Is it still around?
Yeah, it still is.
Okay.
But I mean, they could always go the route of, Max Plus at some point, do like everything else. So,
well, I thought they should have been bold and just named it Plus because Plus seems to be the moniker that everybody uses with their streaming service. So why not just embrace it all? But hey, what do I know?
Well, and I've seen folks go, why not Warner Max or WB Max? And it's like, yeah, I also think that would be better. But again, whatever, we'll get used to it. But the big announcement was the name, right? And then sort of, I think, to kind of smooth the waters, then they released a bunch of like announcements and trailers and teasers and go, yeah, but look at all this stuff coming for Max. And so they announced, that they are going to actually do the Harry Potter series and they're going to do some like Big Bang spinoff. And like, anyway, they announced all this content that was in the works for Max. And it did feel like it was definitely sort of damage control. It was like, they knew that the name change was not going to go over. So they're like, yeah, but look at all this cool crap. And the stock price dropped anyway, because it was like, people were like, yeah, but that name's so stupid. But right along with that is we got our very first teaser for the Penguin series. Coming off of the Batman, Colin Farrell's Penguin, his rise to power. So we got our first teaser of this. And Jamie, what'd you think?
I am so looking forward to this show. I am a huge fan of Colin Farrell. I really enjoyed. I mean, he was probably my favorite thing in the Batman. So watching this teaser, kind of getting an idea of tone, theme, what we're gonna get out of the show. I really think this show is going to be solid, and I'm all in on it. And I do want to point out, and I don't mean to say this because I think they're purposely aping things or not, but a lot of Oz's things in this teaser really, to me, invoked Tony Soprano, which I'm a huge fan of The Sopranos, so I'm okay with it. And I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but that resonated in my head quite a bit and actually made me a little more excited for it than I already was.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that comparison a lot, and it does feel apt. Again, not in a negative way, in a very positive way. I will say I've never watched The Sopranos.
Oh, it's fantastic, dude. You should really need to check it out when you get some time.
Well, let me check on Max and see if it's there.
Hey,
Max, do you have The Sopranos? I'm just going to call it Max, like it's a friend. Max.
Yeah, why not?
They could have called it Max Shrek.
Oh, that tweet was brilliant, by the way.
Thanks. All right, Willis, how are you feeling about the Penguin?
I mean, I had forgotten that, like what you just said, Jamie, that it reminded you of The Sopranos. I was thinking The Godfather, that you're right. I think it's more The Sopranos. And like you, Andy, I never really watched that because that really wasn't my style of show. I'm interested in this. I'll watch it. I totally even forgot that this was Colin Farrell because this does not look like him at all. I mean, even when I saw the Batman, it didn't register with me. Um, I'm interested in it. Again, I don't know how much I'll enjoy it because of the material. Because again, I'm not big into that style or that theme, but I'll give it a try. I mean, it could be better than I anticipated and expected, but you know, I did like the Batman, and I'm interesting to see where they go with this. One thing that struck me was one of the lines in the trailer. He's basically everything he's doing is so that he could be remembered in the future. Sort of he wants that legacy. So that sort of struck me as, his motivation for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's a really great teaser, actually, and it feels very cinematic. And like Jamie said, I think that Colin Farrell was one of the best things coming out of the Batman. He was so much fun, and he gave such a great performance, and he's a great Oswald. And so I'm just interested to see more of him. I love that he is doing this, and it feels like just a natural extension of the film. It looks the same, it feels the same, it has the same vibe. So again, I'm not a huge Sopranos or Godfather guy, but I am a Penguin guy, and so I'm happy to watch his rise to power. So I think it's a really cool teaser, and yeah, again, to me, it just feels like a natural sequel to the movie, and I think it even says the next chapter in the Batman saga. So it looks very promising. I'm looking forward to it. I want to say it's 8 episodes, but yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun, and I'm intrigued by it.
Again, I want to take a moment to acknowledge talking about HBO and their quality content that they've done for so long now. 8 episodes feels super short, but I love the fact that this production that they do on any of these shows, they never force a show to overstay its welcome.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have 13 episodes worth of content, they don't shoot 13 episodes worth of content. And I really think that's a lesson that a ton of TV series out there could learn from.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like 8 episodes, you're right. It sounds short, but I also feel like it's then just more focused, and we have no shortage of stuff to watch. So I'm okay with them not stretching it out. 8 episodes feels good, and it's funny because you were mentioning Clancy Brown. I don't remember if we've talked about this, but he's Maroni in this.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which I kind of forgot about until you mentioned it. And I'm sitting here looking at the details about the Penguin. And I was like, oh God, that's right. So it's a cool teaser, and I'm looking forward to the show. And you're right, 8 episodes I think feels like a good amount.
Well, also I think a lot depends on how long the episodes are, because you're right. There's other streaming services that have had more episodes, but they've been shorter or whatever variation, and so hopefully they get the right balance.
For sure. Absolutely.
Just few things drive me crazier than a story that starts chasing itself in circles just to fill time. And the HBO series are very good about not doing that. And if they follow the pattern that they do with, Game of Thrones or any other number of shows that they've, even Sopranos, some of the episodes are probably going to be 45 minutes. Some of them might be up to like an hour and 17 minutes. I mean, they don't kneecap the creatives when they're putting these things together and just say, do it the way that it needs to be done to most effectively get the point across and tell the story. And I just absolutely love that about HBO. And I think that's why they're probably the best in the business at this sort of thing.
Yeah, agreed. And again, just the quality of the footage that we're seeing, it looks like the movie. And that also comes with HBO. Is just there's a level of quality, a cinematic quality to the stuff they put together, and this is no different. And so it does look like something you could watch just hand in hand with the film and without missing a beat.
Another big one I could point out real quick would be The Last of Us. I'm sure like the whole planet has watched that at this point. Those episodes were all over the place on their run times, but that for me, that series, at least as far as the first season is concerned, never overstayed its welcome at all.
So. No, I agree. All right. Well, the Penguin's coming sometime in 2024. We have to wait and see when, but it's coming. Something else that is coming in 2 months' time, I think. Yeah, 2 months from today, actually, is The Flash. And they are not letting up on promoting The Flash. We were talking about that before I hit record, is they are all in on promoting this movie. And so we've gotten some additional footage, some additional photos, a TV spot, and then promos leading up to the next trailer, which is coming out in 9 days on April 25th. So The Flash is coming, despite what Jamie might tell you. And
I've seen a lot of promotion for something I'm still not willing to believe is going to happen.
I mean, did you see on April Fool's, someone was like, The Flash delayed another year? And I was like, that's not even funny at this point. That's just mean. Like, that's not a joke. That's just being a jerk. Anyway, so we got a quick little teaser for, again, the trailer that's coming. And it is, it's both Barrys in the Batwing with Batman. And he's asking like, oh, do you have your parachutes? And they're like, yeah, but do you have yours? And he just looks and he jumps out the Batwing. So it's like 5 seconds and it's like, oh, next trailer coming April 25th. But I'll tell you, that shot of him jumping out the Batwing in full Batman is badass. I love it. And then we got, again, this additional TV spot, 30 seconds. Some of it is footage we had gotten in the previous trailer, but there is some new stuff in here. Especially the additional shot of Michael Keaton's Batman in the suit, but without the mask, kind of sitting in the Batcave. There's another awesome shot of Supergirl punching a missile, but there are a couple of neat little extra tidbits that we had not seen previously. Oh, and then again, the money shot of Batman jumping out of the Batwing and like gliding down with his Batwings. I'm happy that we're going to get a lot of Batwing gliding in this movie. Like, even what little we have seen, we've seen at least 3 moments of awesome Batwing gliding, and I'm all for it. So as this promotion is kicking up and we're getting more and more little bits and pieces, how are we feeling, Willis?
I'm glad you mentioned the scenes, because when I'm watching, I'm going, I know I've watched most of the trailers, but I haven't seen all the hint of the teaser of the trailer. So I was going, yeah, I thought the Michael Keaton, the one without the cowl, with that sort of a yellowish bat, man symbol on his chest. I thought, oh yeah, that's new, and him jumping out of the Batwing. And then I thought the shot of the parents looked new. And what this sort of told me was, this really sets up really what the story is. He really is going back in time, to reset things. I mean, you sort of get that with the whole Flashpoint anyway, but it sort of just really, I think, hit it home really what the purpose of the movie is. So I did, like you, I didn't really see a lot of new things. The few little things I was like, oh, that's interesting. So again, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see again how everything goes with it.
Awesome. And I think in that little 5-second tease, I think also when he jumps out of the Batwing is sort of like in the moon. And so you get that great silhouette of the bat signal. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's Batman jumps out and the Batwing is silhouetted against the moon. So we also get that awesome nod.
I mean, I'm like Jamie. I do believe it's coming. So
well, at this point, it's freaking better.
Jamie's been burned entirely too many times to get his hopes up anymore.
I mean, they're showing it at CinemaCon, I think on April 25th. I think it's the same day that they're screening it is the day that we get that trailer.
So the whole thing is an existential crisis for me, because I cannot allow myself to believe it until I've actually sat down and watched it. I wish I could say this was a joke at this point, but it's not. I mean, we've waited for this for how many years now?
A few?
5 at least?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and count.
I mean, it's just so much crushing news has just, one blow after another with this thing. So
yeah,
if it does indeed happen, and I do indeed get to see it, I just hope it's everything that I dreamed that it would be.
And I'll be looking forward to when when Jamie has his review of it on Real Fans.
It'll be here, but
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Jamie will have to finally own up.
Listen, I have an air fryer. There's plenty of room to fit a crow in there, and I will have no problem doing so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm so excited for this. And so yeah, it's like every little tidbit, I feel like I should show some restraint and try not to watch it, but I'm watching it. I'm just so excited. I haven't been this excited in a long time for a DC movie, and everything that we're seeing I think looks amazing. So, yeah, I can't help it. The hype is real, and so I just keep watching everything, and yeah, every little extra shot, every extra little moment. There was another teaser for the trailer, and it was just the faces of all the characters. So it was like the Flash and both Batman and Supergirl and Zod. And again, it's a new trailer, April 25th. So that one was even less revealing. But again, like just these little bits that they're giving us to remind us that this is coming, and even hyping up the trailer that is a week and a half away is crazy. They're all in on this, and it shows a lot of confidence, and I'm super excited for it. But yeah, the little bits extra that we're getting, I think is really awesome. That the shot of Supergirl punching the missile, Batman jumping out of the Batwing both times, and then Keaton sitting there in the suit. He looks great, by the way. BT dubs for a 70-year-old man. He looks amazing. So all right, Keaton. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just so into it, and I can't wait.
We talked about this a little bit before we started recording. I'll just put it out there for everybody to hear. Obviously they need this movie to succeed because there's a lot riding on this. They've got so much money and time invested in it to this point, and obviously the ramifications it's going to have on the future of the DC universe are probably pretty significant here. So my one big concern is they're pushing this trailer so hard. I hope they're not going to pull another BVS and just give too much away. I would love to see them exercise restraint and leave some things as a surprise for its audience. And I really feel like this is one of those things I'm going to have to like start avoiding social media after, because, a CinemaCon premiere and whatever else, I don't want anything spoiled. I don't. And apparently there's already a few spoiler rumors floating around out there that I've managed to avoid, but I hope they don't give away too much. Get everybody pumped, get everybody excited. That's all cool, all well and good, but save some stuff for us. I like to be surprised when I'm in a theater. So,
No, I completely agree, and that is going to be the tricky part. Is like, do you have enough to sell this on without giving everything away? And my understanding is that they've shown us nothing from the third act, which is encouraging, but will they be able to continue showing that restraint over the next 2 months? Because you're right, that's where we got in trouble with BVS is they couldn't. They gave away way too much. So I hope they do, because again, I'm not going to be able to not watch any trailers that come out. So
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, maybe I should just avoid that trailer altogether. And then I'm like, well, we're going to inevitably have to talk about it on the show. So, easier said than done. Even if I'm not on the episode, I'm going to wind up listening to it. So I'm going to bite the bullet and watch it and just cross my fingers and hope that I'm not seeing things I don't want to see before I sit down.
Yep. Same.
I guess that's one advantage, like with me being more of a casual fan, I'm not as in tune with a lot of this stuff, and I don't actively know when new trailers or, spoilers are coming out, because honestly, when Black Adam was on, I actually was surprised with the Henry Cavill, in the end trailer, and with, Wonder Woman, in Shazam. So, there are some of us out there that aren't as in tune, and so we still get surprised. But I do try to avoid spoilers, and as things get closer, I maybe not watch as many trailers just in case.
I so envy you in that respect. Genuinely, I do, because we run in a lot of geek circles on social media, and unfortunately, it's a great community for the most part, but it's really hard to duck a lot of that stuff because people get so excited, and some people actually have the thing of wanting to be the first to talk about something to a detrimental point. it's hard to avoid a lot of that stuff when you're so active in these circles. So legitimately, Willis, I envy your position there, because you probably get a lot of surprises that I don't watching these things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's that's one reason why I'm not on like on Facebook or stuff like that. I mean, but yeah, I don't do a lot of social media, but I do, what I do, I try to make sure I avoid some things.
Willis, it sounds to me like you got it all figured out.
I wish.
Follow this example.
I think you need to give a class on how to do this, because I think it sounds like you're a very happy person, and I think I know why. So, I mean, and that's a great point, and it is true. I mean, honestly, like yesterday, Scotty, my best friend, he texts me and he goes, "Is there a real trailer for The Flash yet? Because all I'm finding is fan made ones."
Oh, Scotty, you're so glorious.
I know. So I sent him the link. I was like, "Yes," and it's awesome. And I sent him the link. He goes, "Oh yeah, that is awesome." But again, for the more casual fans like that, like it's like, oh, I think there was a trailer, but like, so there's something to be said for that. And I mean, when we went and saw Shazam, like we said, Catherine had no idea about Wonder Woman, which was great, because it was nice that surprise was preserved for her and for you, Willis. So it's nice when that can happen. But
I want to take a moment I want to take a moment to acknowledge Scott. He's a great guy, love him to death. But we all met up for that Joker thing back in the fall of 2019, and you and me and Michael, and Michael's wife is Michelle, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Scotty was there, and we had dinner and talked, and it was a great time. And then we get up to go to the movie, and Scotty's like, "All right, I'm out." I'm like, "What? You're not going to the movie?" "No, this ain't my kind of thing. I don't need to watch that." I'm like, "What?" So the fact that Scotty just completely does his own thing at every step and is like oblivious to the fact that this trailer that's been promoted to death for the last 2 months or whatever it's been, and he doesn't even know it exists. God bless him, man. That's fantastic.
I forgot that he came to dinner with us, but I am not at all surprised he didn't go see Joker, because that is definitely not his thing. He does not like movies that are, what's the right word, just dark and make you feel bad. Like that is not his thing. So yeah, he likes ones that make him feel good. So I think he'll see The Flash.
I respect the hell out of somebody that has enough restraint to not feel like they have to watch every single thing to keep up with current events kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah,
we know Scotty's stuck in the 80s, but man, he just does his own thing. And I just love that about him.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time I showed him In the Mouth of Madness?
No.
And I did. And he had like nightmares for a week. And I still feel bad.
I've never heard of that, but when y'all did your Return to Oz episode, is like, that was nightmare inducing as well.
Yeah,
not the episode that y'all talked about, but just the movie itself.
That's the kind of horror movie Scott likes. His Return to Oz, the one that's supposed to be for kids. But
I was going to say the ones camouflaged as the kids movie that still bring out more nightmares than anything Freddy Krueger ever did. Yeah.
Exactly. He's all about Return to Oz and the Black Cauldron. That he'll get down on. But yeah, Joker, In the Mouth of Madness, not so much.
Well, to be honest, I actually haven't even seen that movie, but I will probably watch it before the next one comes out, with Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. So
yeah.
It's a good movie, but I don't know that I don't have it on like regular rotation, just because it's not one of those fist pump geeky comic book kind of things. I mean, it's a deep, dark character study, and it's not Batman 66. I mean, it's like the antithesis of Batman 66. So
very true. Anyway, The Flash, we got more stuff coming, and it does feel like Andy Muschietti is extremely excited. He seems all in on it. We love that. He seems like a good dude. And then this week, there was also a rumor making the rounds that he might be in line to direct The Brave and the Bold. Now, this is one of those things where I'm like, is it a real rumor or is it just speculation? Because I think a lot of us, including on this show, we've been saying for the past couple months since we saw that first Flash trailer of like, he seems so excited to be doing this movie, to be working with DC. He seems very excited to be doing something with Batman. It makes a lot of sense that he would maybe do The Brave and the Bold. And then this week, it came out as a quote unquote rumor. And so again, I don't know how much of that rumor is based in any actual fact, or if it's just that same speculation that people are then redressing as a rumor. But regardless, it was out there, it's making the rounds this week. So how would you feel about that, Willis?
Honestly, I really don't know, because I really don't know much about him. And I mean, I'm looking here and seeing things that he's directed, so I've seen the It movies, and, I guess with the upcoming Flash, but I don't really know much more about him, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that based on what we all think of the Flash when it comes out is going to make a huge difference. If we all love it and go, oh my God, which hopefully we will, but everyone who's seen it seems to have loved it. I think that makes a lot of sense. Then we'll get even more excited for him to do something else. But what about you, Jamie?
I feel like obviously there's several reasons I want this movie to be a big success and a crowd pleaser and what have you. But I think one of my main reasons, if not, my second overall reason, I'd love for Andy Muschietti to get this win, because he seems genuinely passionate and like you just almost see him sitting in a corner, just giggling and twinkling his fingers together going, I can't wait for this thing to get out there for people to see it. I mean, it just, that energy that's coming off of him is incredible. And if he puts that much passion into it and this movie succeeds on the levels that it needs to, this is a guy I'd love to see hang around and do some more stuff. And if you want to give him a flagship tentpole kind of a thing in Batman the Brave and the Bold, and he can do it and wants to do it and put that same energy to it, why not?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea. Again, like I love the It movies. I think he also did Mama, which I love. I think he's a great.
Do that one?
I believe. Now I better check, because
why did I have it in my head that Del Toro did that, or did he just produce it?
It said Mama when I was looking.
So he did. Yeah, so Del Toro did produce it, but Muschietti directed it. But that's a great one too. And so I think he's incredibly talented, and he's the one who was able to finally crack the Flash. God bless him. Like, after how many people tried. And so everything that we're seeing and hearing is that he pulled it off, and he is part currently of the WB stable of filmmakers. And so as long as this goes well, I say, hell yeah, give him the Brave and the Bold, especially based on what we're seeing for his sensibilities of Batman in the Flash, is that, him really embracing both versions, at least two versions, depending on what we know. And so, yeah, I think it's a great choice. We don't want to lose him. And so I hope it's true. Honestly, I hope that this is reality, and that, everybody who has seen The Flash and says it's so good, including Gunn and Zaslav and Safran and everybody, and
don't forget Tom Cruise,
who cold called Andy Muschietti allegedly. Imagine getting that phone call. I'm waiting for my phone call from Tom Cruise telling me how much he likes Holy BatCast. I'm still waiting.
That would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
That's okay. But yeah, anyway, I think that it's a no-brainer, and I hope it happens because he's so great. And yeah, so I'm all for it, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you take it with a grain of salt, because I don't even know where the rumor originated at this point.
It just makes sense. Speculation or fact-based, it makes sense.
Right. Agreed.
So, I mean, I haven't watched the animated series, so are they looking just to make a movie based off the animated series? Is that what the Brave and the Bold is going to be?
It will not be the same style as the animated series, because the animated series is a little lighter and a little more kid friendly. I think they're just using the name to differentiate the different Batman franchises.
Okay.
But all we know is that it will be the shared universe Batman, and this is the one where he will be teamed up with Damian as his Robin. And so anything in addition to that, we don't know yet. So we'll see how it goes. But all of our hunch is, because Matt Reeves is the Batman, is very realistic, it's very grounded, it's very dark, we all expect that the Brave and the Bold will be a little more fantastical, a little lighter, a little more colorful, a little more comic book.
Okay.
But all of that is just speculation based on what we know.
If they want to make a live action series of movies based on that animated series, I am all in now.
I have no problem with that either, because that show is amazing. So
I love that show.
But again, like if you just look at the Flash and you look at, Affleck and the bat cycle he's got and the blue and gray suit that we think is blue and gray, like you look at that and you look at what he's doing with Keaton and the Batwing and everything, like I don't know, like he just seems to really love Batman's world, and so I think the Brave and the Bold could be a really natural fit for him.
Batman's movements in all of these trailers and teasers just look fantastic. So yeah, I'm again, as you mentioned before, the sensibility and the knowledge, I guess, for lack of something better to call it, just seem to be in place there. So
Yeah,
let's make it happen.
Agreed. All right. Well, I think that's about it I got for news. The Flash, the Penguin, Creature Commandos, all good stuff. But there will be more coming. Fret not. But we are going to continue our journey through the animated version of the Batman. We're moving right along. We're on to episode number 10. So season 1, episode 10, Topsy Turvy. It was directed by Sung-Eun Kim, written by Adam Beechan, and the Joker is back, y'all. And so he's out in Gotham causing mischief, and he kidnaps a judge who put him away, turns him into a big playing card, and so Batman is like, oh, I think he's trying to get a whole deck. He's trying to get everybody who's ever wronged him, but it's confusing because he's supposed to still be at Arkham, and he goes and visits him at Arkham, and he is still there. So turns out that the Joker has some fake Jokers out there taking his place, doing his dirty work for him, the orderlies from Arkham, and the Joker uses this to get Batman into Arkham and allows him to escape. And so then, yes, he gathers all of these people who have wronged him in the past, and he is going to get his revenge, but Batman shows up just in time to foil him. So Topsy Turvy aired on February 5th of 2005. And Jamie, what'd you think?
Decent episode. There were a couple things that had me scratching my head. First and foremost, I have to bring it up that clearly Joker's tech guy is the same one that supplied the bat poles that you slide down and automatically change your clothing by the time you get to the bottom of the pole. Because this whole thing blasting people with a ray beam that turns them into a giant playing card is some otherworldly kind of stuff going on there.
I thought the same thing. I was like, how does that work? A laser that just turns you into a playing card. But okay, whatever. Cartoons.
But, I can go with it. I mean, this is a fantasy realm. I'm sure I've read and seen weirder stuff happen in other medium before. So yeah, it was a little bizarre with that, but there were some things going on in this episode that I enjoyed. First of all, we probably brought this up going back to the first episode that this Joker is certainly different than most other iterations that we've ever seen, at least as far as the kinetic energy that he brings and kind of hops around. I mean, a lot of people will call him like Rastafarian monkey Joker or whatever, but at his core, I really think this Joker is pretty true to form for what most of us know as being the Joker. I mean, he seems to have the sensibility, even if it's not the physical appearance or movements that invoke what we know, but like his personality, his motivations, just things like that, just feels Joker to me. So I do appreciate that. And there's one moment that I want to make sure that I call out, and that's Batman gets in the Arkham cell with him, and of course he's got the orderlies bringing him the supplies or what have you. There's that moment where the orderly walks by and sees Batman in the cell and calls the police, and they show up, and Bruce has to think quick, what am I going to do to get out of this situation? And he disguises himself as Joker. I thought that was a fantastic moment. So big points for that one on this episode.
Awesome. Agreed. Willis, what'd you think?
I have to agree with Jamie. That was one of my favorite things about this episode was the whole Batman in the cell with the Joker, and and the Joker sort of, I guess, professing, you're not going anywhere. I need to keep you around. It's sort of like, setting that up, for all the later iterations and times that they're going to probably, go after each other. Again, it was an interesting episode, because, again, since I'm not as familiar with a lot of the animated stuff, and, in this one, until Batman goes, oh, I finally realized that wasn't the real Joker because you're not talking. And I'm like, oh, interesting. That's right. Thinking back when he met the judge. So overall, I thought this was a good episode. I've been enjoying, this series, because again, I'm watching it from the very beginning with all of you. So it's been nice to be introduced to something. And one of the things that I'm going to just have to throw out there is like, this is a throwback, but I think that they are using Wilfred Jackson as the body double for all the animated Batmans they have.
Excellent. Wilfred Jackson has made his way to Holy BatCast.
The classics never die.
I know. Yeah, I really liked this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was kind of refreshing after the past few because I was not as into the last couple. And so it was nice to go back to the Joker. And I appreciated the mystery of like, he's in his cell at Arkham, but he's also out causing mischief. So how did that work? And I liked that Batman figured it out. And it was this orderly that he got to pose for him. And the fact that, I mean, he never actually says it, but I like where Batman's like, oh, why aren't you after me or something? He goes, oh, because, I needed to get your attention. And I kept waiting for him to say, you don't come visit me enough. And because that's what was kind of the underlying thing. It was like, he's doing this to get Batman to come visit because he hasn't seen him and he kind of misses him, which I think is really great. I love the scene between the two of them in Arkham. I thought it was great. And like you said, I really liked the creativity of the Joker escapes. And so Batman has to pose as the Joker just to smooth things over. So I thought this one was a lot of fun, aside from the cartoon logic of the playing card magic beam. I will also say Yin and Bennett are back, but do you guys get the impression that even the show is over them at this point?
Yeah, they didn't feel like they necessarily needed them to be in this episode. Like they weren't crucial to anything going on, but they just happened to be the two that show up because it was a report about a Batman sighting in Arkham. So
yeah, like we're only on episode 10 and I feel like they were not in the past couple. Yeah. And they showed up again in this one and I was like, oh yeah, them. But I feel like even the episode is like, I guess we have to have them in here. So anyway, I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked the big finale at the theater. I thought that was a good time. So yeah, this was, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a good time. It was nice to see Batman and the Joker. And I agree with you, Jamie. And I think we said that last time is, once you get over the look of the Joker, he still very much feels like the Joker and he does things that the Joker would do. And so you get used to it and he's a good version of the Joker.
Yeah. And like you were talking about, the whole thing of I'm doing this to get you to come see me because you never visit or whatever, that very much feels like a classic Joker move. I mean, that feels like a version that I've read in the comics or seen on a Batman the Animated Series. I mean, any of that, it fits that mold. So yeah, again, big shout out for that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, any final thoughts and a letter grade, Jamie?
Final thoughts. I would like to see more like this in this show. I mean, I haven't super disliked anything I've seen so far, but it's, Brendan's talked about, eventually the show finds its footing and then it really, gets off to rolling. And I hope this is kind of the beginning of that because this felt like one of the more enjoyable episodes of the show that I've seen to date. For me, this one comes in at a B+.
Awesome. Willis.
So I'll go ahead and give my letter grade. I think it more, again, in the B range. One of the things I was thinking of is like, seeing some of the close-ups of the Joker, it's like suddenly his head is really big. It just sort of, thinking about it makes me think of like some of the old Teen Titans, cartoons where they just suddenly their heads are really big. So it's just really jarring a little bit. But again, it just seems a little weird sizing wise for some of the animation. But overall, I enjoyed it. Like Brendan has said, the earlier episodes really are like each villain of the night or villain of the day, whatever. And this now is starting to set things up a little bit more since we've been introduced to the Joker before, so we can get more into it and the relationship he has with Batman and, and then things just progressing from there.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like this one too. I'm glad to hear that you guys felt the same. It's a good episode. It was kind of refreshing to get back to this Joker. It's not the most complicated plot, but it's a good time and it's fun to see them butt heads. There's some nice moments in there. So yeah, I'm actually exactly where you are, Jamie. B plus.
I figured you were going to say A- because it's you, but
I'm not. No, I'm not one up in you this time.
okay.
So anyway, and Willis is on B. You said a B?
Yeah, B.
All right, great. So a B and two B pluses for Topsy Turvy. One of the better episodes that we've had thus far.
I think
Hopefully
we get a
we can...
return to Penguin in the next episode, don't we?
Indeed we do. So next one up is called Bird of Prey. And yes, the return of the penguin.
So maybe we are starting to find that footing. They've got their idea where they want to go, and we're going to start getting there with them. Fingers crossed.
Yep. All right. Well, next one up is Bird of Prey, the return of the penguin. So there's your homework for next time. But we're not ready to say goodbye just yet. We got to check in with you fine feathered finks and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
We only got a couple emails. It's pretty quiet week in the mailbox, and that's okay. I'm not mad at it. This email here is from Matt Carey. It says, "Hey, BatCasters. I'm catching up on past episodes, and after listening to a few, a thought struck me. Several years ago, it was rumored that The Rock was looking to play Lobo in his own movie, but it never panned out. Was a Rock Cavill Superman versus Lobo movie the greatest DC movie we never got? When do you think Lobo will come to the DC films? Also, after seeing the Blue Beetle trailer, I can tell it's an origin story. Do you think that every superhero has to have an origin movie first, or are some so embedded in society that everyone knows them and we could jump right to the middle? I think Batman and Superman, at least, are well known enough that we don't need another origin movie for either. Thanks for all the content. I love listening. Matt." Thanks, Matt. All right, we'll take them one at a time. I don't remember the Rock Lobo rumors. Do you guys remember that?
No, it doesn't ring a bell to me, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there, because a lot of times I'll just ignore rumors that don't sound like they're solid.
Yeah. But what do you think? A Rock Lobo Cavill Superman movie. Do you think it could be the greatest DC movie we never got? Jamie?
Greatest, I don't know about, but I think I would have rather had that than Black Adam trying to fight Superman for 10 years.
Okay.
It would have made more sense to me, and not having to cut out an arch nemesis and the feeling that they weren't strong enough and going after somebody that would inflate your ego a little bit. I feel like Superman versus Lobo would have been a better choice in that regard than Black Adam versus Superman.
Yeah. Willis, what do you think?
Well, I'm not real familiar with the Lobo as a character. I mean, I've heard y'all talk about it, and the possibility of Jason playing, Lobo, that rumor. And, and I'm looking at images of Lobo, and it's like, I just can't see The Rock playing it. I mean, all that hair, putting a wig on The Rock would just be really off-putting.
We would have had a bald Lobo, because he ain't wearing no wig. His ego won't fit a wig on that giant head of his. So no, it would have been bald.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, again, because I'm not familiar with it. The Rock is sort of like, now is he starting to appear in everything? So it's like, okay, take a seat, back. You don't need to be in everything. So,
I mean, we'll see if he wears a wig for this Moana remake that they're doing. We shall see. Maui's got a pretty big head of hair. And I got to tell you, guys, I'm so excited about the Moana remake, because I haven't seen a new Moana movie for 6 years. It's been 6 whole years. How am I supposed to live this long without getting a new Moana?
It's like I said I think it was you that made the post in the Facebook group. What are we, a decade away from them simultaneously releasing a live action and animated version of a movie from Disney?
Yep.
But as far as the Lobo thing, I mean, The Rock, I like the guy. I'm a fan, but guys, Everybody knows it. Jason Momoa is some white paint away from being Lobo. Just that simple. He literally looks like the character. Just walking around day to day, he looks like Lobo. So.
Indeed. Nope, that's true.
Yeah, and that's why I can't picture The Rock doing it, because he, like you said, Jason looks like it, and so I got that image in my mind, and it's like, yeah, let's have him do it.
Yeah,
he looks so much like him that if I didn't know better, I would have sworn somebody based the character on him.
Yeah. And Matt's other question is, when do you think Lobo will come to the DC films? I will say probably pretty quickly, because didn't James Gunn tweet something about Lobo like when he took the job?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I feel like he did. So I think that he is excited about Lobo.
Lobo is one of those characters, and I'm not saying Gunn is going to be like directly attached to write, direct, or whatever, but I feel like he's going to be prone to greenlighting that because that's a character that totally fits his sensibilities.
Yeah.
He's mean, he's gruff, he's funny. It just fits in Gunn's wheelhouse. So like if he does write and direct it, I think that's a perfect choice. But obviously he's going to be busy for a minute. So I agree with you. I think sooner than later we'll see it happen.
Yeah. Even if it's, well, I'll just say, I would not be shocked if he shows up in Superman Legacy.
I wouldn't even be mad at it.
Neither would I, but I would not at all be shocked, and I'm okay with that. I mean, when you look at the Superman Man of Tomorrow animated movie, which I really liked, I feel like they incorporated Lobo very well into that. And I could totally see that. Yeah, I could totally see that in a really good live action movie. And then the other question is, Blue Beetle is obviously an origin film, but do you think every superhero has to have an origin movie first? I feel like we've discussed this in the past, but Willis, what do you think? As a casual viewer, do you need the origin?
I think it depends.
Before you understand.
Right. I mean, since Batman and Superman and, Wonder Woman, they're the more familiar ones that about. Do we need origin stories of them every single time they reboot? Probably not. But maybe the Blue Beetle. I had never heard of the Blue Beetle until you all started talking about it. I've seen the trailer and I'm like, oh, this looks really fun. I'm looking forward to it. Same sort of with with Black Adam. I wasn't familiar with the character. So now, do they have to devote a whole movie to being the entire origin story? Maybe not. There's ways that you can work around it. So that you get the origin, but yet it still progresses through the movie. So if it's done correctly, you don't have to have a dedicated movie. But again, for older characters that are very familiar, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jamie?
I think I feel very much the same way Willis does about it. I think even you are probably going to say much the same thing. There are just some characters out there who are in the pop culture zeitgeist enough that everybody just knows at this point. Everybody knows Superman was sent away by his Kryptonian parents as the planet was falling to its doom and lands with the Kents and grows up in a Kansas farm and all that. We know Batman's parents were murdered in an alley and he devotes his life to fighting crime and making himself the very best that a human can be.
Whoa. Batman's parents died?
You didn't know about this?
No.
Haven't you seen Teen Titans Go to the movies?
Oh my God, I had no idea. You'd think they'd put that in a movie.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah,
the more you know.
There are just some that you just don't need it with. But again, Willis brought up, he didn't even know who Blue Beetle was until we started talking about it. So for that general audience appeal, how can you not do an origin story for him? Even if it's a blended in origin, as he was mentioning, which I don't have any problem with that. I also don't have any problem with just, starting at square one and working your way up. Although for me, being, a geeky fan, I think I'm kind of over the whole idea of having to wait until halfway through the movie until the hero, the quote, air quote, hero finally shows up. I don't think I need that format any longer, but you know what? Tell the best story you can tell in this fashion and I'll just go with you on it.
Yeah. No, I think we all see eye to eye. I mean, with the more obscure characters, I do think an origin makes a lot of sense. To your point, Jamie, I think that the pacing of those movies is key, so you're not having to wait too long. I think that, the gold standards are things like Batman Begins, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, even Iron Man. I feel like those all do a great job of doing the origin, but also getting you to the hero in the right amount of time, like hitting the sweet spot. I hope that Blue Beetle is the same. Is that, I mean, it seems like it, honestly. It seems like he gets that scarab relatively early based on the trailer. But you're right, for other characters, you don't need to do the origin. There are 2 movies that jump to mind where I think of how they did the origin perfectly by doing it as a montage in the opening credits. The first one is The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best movie of all time or anything, but I like it. And because it was a soft reboot, just doing the origin during the opening credits was perfect. Because it's like, just in case you didn't see the last one, like, we'll get you up to speed real quick and then we can hit the ground running. And I think that was done very well. And the other one is Batman versus Superman. Is that, we joke the Waynes get killed in Crime Alley. We know all of this, but we're jumping to an older, wiser, grizzled Batman. Doing it during the opening credits is a way, just in case, and you can do it very stylistically, which was Zack Snyder did. And you can have those beats, you can hit those things, but it's not taking up the first hour of your movie. So I think that there are ways to do it always. And I think it really is based on the character, to Matt's point. Superman is another one. If you want to remind us all about Superman coming from Krypton, again, do it during the opening credits, which they do in Superman 2. Yep. Just in case. So I've always liked that.
I think Smallville does that too, don't they? It's been a long time since I've watched it, but I feel like it.
Oh, I don't.
Wow.
I don't remember.
It's been years since I watched that.
Me too. Maybe I'm due for a revisit, but man, that's 10 years worth of content?
Yeah, 10 seasons.
Yeah. All right.
I think they were like 22 episode seasons too. So
Oh,
maybe
it's
that's
a
one of
lot.
those examples I was talking about earlier where maybe we could have learned a lesson about restraint there.
Well, I think that's true of all the CW shows, honestly. And I like a lot of
Yeah.
those shows, but when they have to fill out 23 episodes per season, there's a lot of wheel spinning.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I think they learned their lesson, though, with one of the more recent ones, like Kung Fu. They were only making them like 13 episodes per season.
Oh,
Is that show any good? I kind of dismissed it, but
The first season I really liked. Second season, you really get into the fantasy side of it. Second season was decent. Then they're making choices and stuff, and I liked it. The third season I really enjoyed. So I think they went to that sort of sophomore phase and sort of found their footing again in season 3.
maybe I'll check that out.
all right. I didn't even know that was a thing, honestly. But speaking of the CW, our next message is from Mark Jurasevic, and he's got a question about a CW show. He says, "Hey, Batcasters, I hope all's well. I continue to be extremely impressed with Superman and Lois. The show has a lot of heart that focuses on family and balances the superhero elements perfectly. This current season has been particularly impressive and tackles a real-life situation so thoughtfully and respectfully, but at the same time does not neglect what we all love about Superman and superheroes in general. I do hope that the series continues past the current season. Also, in a recent episode, there's a fantastic Clark scene in a diner that pays homage to Superman the movie and Man of Steel. It shows that Superman and Clark is not a straightforward, contrived character, but someone with a lot of depth. What are your thoughts on the series and the diner moment? Cheers, Mark." Thank you, Mark. And I will say this. I started catching up with Superman and Lois yesterday, but I have not gotten to the episode with the diner scene. So I can't share thoughts on the diner scene yet because I am still, I think, 1 or 2 episodes behind. Willis, are you watching Superman and Lois?
Yes, I am, and I'm fairly caught up. I haven't watched this past week's episode, so I think I understand the diner scene he's talking about with Jonathan's girlfriend's father, if I'm correct. And
Okay.
yeah, sorry, spoiler.
Well, the one I watched yesterday starts to set things up with Jonathan's girlfriend's father. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that it continues.
I mean, overall, again, like I said at the very beginning of, the podcast, I'm, more of a Superman because, again, I was the right age for that. So I've really enjoyed most of the iterations of Superman. So having it on the CW, has been good. And, the tone has been interesting. I wasn't a big fan of the season 2 arc and, where they went with all of that. But I like how it feels a little bit more quote unquote grounded now, haha, with the third season. And so that was an interesting, I hadn't thought about the relationship to the second Superman with the diner scene. And I can see that now. And it, again, it does show restraint on, Superman Clark Kent. And, because again, he's really trying to be there for his family, which again, this is really a family show. And it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this whole season, given some of the, other things that are going on with some of the other characters. I don't want to say something in case it's a spoiler, but it'll be interesting to see how they progress through it and connect everything together. But I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Jamie, have you been watching?
I still haven't started season 2. I watched season 1. I thought it was mostly excellent. I need to get back on the wagon, but my God, there's so much content out there, guys. There's so much stuff that I have to watch.
That's why it's good. The Penguin is only 8 episodes.
Yeah, things get lost in the shuffle, and I have a hard time picking back up. Like I'm trying to get caught up on season 4 of Titans. I'm 1 episode into season 4. Doom Patrol. I don't think I've even started season 3. I mean, just so much. Stargirl. I haven't started season 2. And these are things that I like, so I need to find the time. But somehow watching a movie I've seen 58 times since 1985 takes precedence when I sit down in my chair. It's a sickness. I can't help it.
That is so real. I get it.
And for me, I've enjoyed. I'm more of a CW person because I've been watching the Arrowverse all the way since that started, and so I'm watching the final season of The Flash now. I watched the Batgirl, season when it was on, and I even watched Stargirl. I was late to it, but I completed it, and I really enjoyed it. Very more lighthearted as compared to some of the other ones. And again, on the Flash, great season. Some not so much. And I never even gave Gotham Knights a chance, even before you all did your review. So
apparently, Gotham Knights is doing well, allegedly. So
on streaming, I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, so it shows what we know, right? That's
Maybe people are just spite watching it because of people like us. Who knows?
That's fair. And again, like I'm not going to tell you to watch or not watch something. I watched the pilot. I did. I'm good.
I watched the trailer and I was done. So, shame on me. Maybe it's good. I probably won't know because I have like 40 seasons of other shit that I need to go back and watch right now.
Well, yeah. And I'm with you, Jamie. I haven't even started season 4 of Titans yet because I was going to start watching it. Then, they did that sort of hiatus and break. And I'm like, dudes, why? It's just like you were going to interrupt it. So, and I haven't gone back to Doom Patrol with this season either. But I do. Those are the two I want to get back to sooner versus later.
You guys both mentioned Stargirl. Like you said, Willis, it's so good. Like all 3 seasons, just terrific. I'm so bummed that it's over, but at the same time, man, they had 3 great seasons, so I can't even be mad. But that show was so great. Back to Superman and Lois. Like I said, I am watching the current season, but I'm 1 or 2 episodes behind. I completely agree with Mark here. This season has been fantastic. It is unexpected, like you were saying, Willis. Like I didn't expect some of the storylines, but I think it's really good. And I will say, watching that episode yesterday, it got me. It really got me. So it's it continues to be an excellent series because it's focused on some very human issues and some very personal family issues, and yet it still is a superhero show, and we still get our superhero, eye candy, which is always fun. But man, what's happening with Clark and Lois right now is really great and a lot, but in the best possible way. So I agree. The show is so good. And I agree with Mark. I hope it continues. I hope that they at least get a couple more seasons out of it because it's really excellent. The cast is excellent. So far, season 3, excellent. So again, like you, I'm kind of dancing around it just in case people don't want to get spoiled, but it's great.
One of the things I like is, it shows things that Superman, being the super person, can't fit with his powers. Like you said, it's all the humanity part of it. And it's an interesting take on where they're going with it. So, and also I was wondering how they were going to, deal with the change of characters for Jonathan. And so far he hasn't had a lot of screen time, but hopefully he gets more of his footing, and we'll see more of him too.
Yeah, I think he's doing a very good job. You just have to get used to it, and
Yeah.
that's just the nature of any recasting. But I think the new guy is doing great. I do miss the old one, but whatever, say la vie.
So it's still the same one in season 2, and then they changed it for season 3. Is that correct?
Yeah.
For Jonathan,
Okay.
Yes.
I was getting ready to use it as the excuse. I'm trying to distance myself so that I'm not, having a shock at the replacement of the actor. But since I haven't watched season 2 yet, I can't use that excuse.
That's okay. I will also say I caught up on Titans yesterday too, because yesterday it was Daddy and Harley Day because Catherine and her sister went and saw Taylor Swift, and so I was with Harley all day. So we caught up on Titans. We started catching up on Superman and Lois, and Titans, like this. They dropped the first 2 episodes of the second half of season 4. They were really good. I really like it. So, much like Stargirl, I'm going to be bummed when it's over because I do like Titans. I do. And I just hope they get to finish strong. And so far, it seems like they are, because the 2 episodes that they dropped for, the second half of season 4, both were really strong.
Well, Lord knows that show's due for a strong finish at some point. So, fingers crossed.
That is fair.
And that's a show I'm actually trying to stay away from spoilers, just because I do enjoy it, and so again, I'm just doing what I can to avoid them because I'm not caught up. So,
yep, fair enough. I will also say, just because we were talking about Superman, guys, I put this on Twitter. Did you see what I got? So have you ever heard of La La Land Records? Yeah. They specialize in like really nice boutique soundtracks. And I bought the 3-disc set of the score for Superman the movie. And then the 3-disc.
Wow, that's a lot.
The 3-disc set for Superman 2 and Superman 3. And so I've been listening to a lot of John Williams Superman, and it's been really great.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
They're so good. And it's like, do I already own versions of these soundtracks? Yes. Am I going to buy this one? Also, yes.
And why doesn't that surprise me?
They're worse habits to have. But they're so cool. Yeah, La La Land Records, I think I've put at least one of their kids through college.
Well, shame on you for not buying them in vinyl, Andy. Shame.
I know. I sent it to Brendan and Eric and Joe, and Brendan's like, why are not vinyl? I'm like, shut up, Brendan.
You're all a bunch of raging hipsters. Just sad.
Although I will say I did find Superman 2 on vinyl a few months ago at like a secondhand store for like $14, and I bought it.
Like the original release?
The original.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's why I was like, and I was totally expecting it to be like $50 or something, and it was like 14, and I was like, oh, yep, yoink, I'm getting it. So anyway, that's it for emails. Told you, just a couple. But good chat nonetheless. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. That's going to wrap up this episode. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. What a great way to kick off Sunday morning. Willis, thanks for making the time. It was a pleasure having you.
Oh, I had a blast. I mean, again, like I said, I was nervous at the beginning, but this was fun. I really enjoyed it, talking about all these topics, and I think I actually know more than I thought. So
see, look at you. You did your homework. I respect that. No, it was awesome having you. You said you don't really do social media, so is there anywhere that folks can find you, or do you just hide in the shadows?
No, I don't hide in the shadows. Not like Batman. No. I am on Twitter.
Brandon hides in the shadows.
Well, except I have to admit that one time on one of the last episodes where you asked him what he wanted to plug and what he said had me howling.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I am on Twitter and I am on Instagram. They're both the same. It's WNWARDII. So I can be followed both places there. I don't post a lot, not on Twitter, but on Instagram, it's more so when I do my, Walt Disney World or Disneyland trips, or whenever there's food involved. I'm more of a food porn person. So,
okay.
yeah. So I'm actually heading.
Speaking our language now.
Well, Well, I'm heading actually down your way, Andy, later this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because Animal Kingdom's 25th anniversary
Oh my
is
God.
next Saturday, so I'm going to be down there for that. So,
Wow.
yeah, so I'll be and I'm going to try some of the Woody's Rodeo Roundup, the new restaurant at Hollywood Studios. So I'll be posting, food pictures from that. So so yeah, follow me. I don't interact a lot there, but I can be reached there.
Okay, you said WNW?
Yeah, like Willis Nelson Ward II. So I'm a junior. So WNWARDII.
Huh.
Yeah, you follow me on Twitter.
Okay, well that's good. I was checking to make sure I do, but I can't find you.
Yeah, you should be on Instagram or Twitter.
Twitter. I'm on Twitter.
Yeah.
WNWII?
No, WNWARDII.
Oh. There you are. Okay, found you. Oh, I'm not following you. I'm a terrible person. Now I followed you back.
Oh, okay.
But I appreciate the Disney Cruise cover photo. That's great.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I had on there. Yeah, because my picture on there is with me and Donald. It was taken at Topolino's January 1st, 2020, but 3 months before the world went upside down.
Got it. We're going to the Disney Cruise in Alaska in June, and I'm so excited.
I'm doing the Panama Canal from Miami to San Diego in October.
Ooh, excellent. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I think we crossed because you did the fantasy last year, and then I did the Wish right after.
There you go. One of these days it will line up. Very cool. Awesome. Thanks, Willis. And Jamie, same places, same old.
Yeah, Twitter, Jamie, it's BatRaider3960, Facebook, Letterboxd under my name, Jamie Drewley. I've been kind of active on that the last couple of days. I got myself a Regal Unlimited pass, so I'm going to the movies like every week, and it's such a familiar yet foreign thing to me at this point, having avoided movie theaters for as long as I have. So, yeah, we are into a lot of movies this year because, man, there's a lot of stuff coming out.
I know. We should talk about that on a future podcast.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea.
Great. Sounds like a plan. All right. I already told you guys where to follow me, but thanks as always for joining us. Please do follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Visit holybatcast.com and find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. If you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, that email address again is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to check out our friends over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. But that'll do it. On behalf of Willis and Jamie, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
The world ain't built for guys like us. That's why we gotta take whatever we decide is ours.